only that, we had to talk a little bit from our plans to continue progressing. And what do we were asked, what do I need to be successful? So this was one question that we had to answer after doing our presentation. We had to talk a little bit about challenges that we were facing and what we think we need help with to be successful. So this is a very good exercise because we do not think of that like in a clear way. We all want to be successful, but we don't think about it objectively how to do it. Like which steps do we need to take? Maybe a mentor or something like that. So it was very nice to them. Sorry, it was very nice for them to put this kind of questions in our presentations, so we can have like an active thinking of what do we need to do to grow and to be better at our careers. And after we discuss our research, our career, we had a lot of insights from colleagues, from the faculty about what should we do, and they could like maybe put together something, maybe reach someone that they think would help us. So it was a very nice networking event also. And here, so you can see a little bit of our schedule. We had a few little lectures from our faculty, some of them about SCID, but most of them about the career part of it. So we had some time management, how to mentor or how to be a mentee, how to ask for a raise, negotiating. We had breaks and network dinners, also how to work with life balance, burnout, how to hire, how to ask for a raise, when to look for a new job, imposter syndrome, a lot of things that we kind of know that exist, but we don't, especially as a physician, as a doctor, or something that someone that is doing most clinical work, research work, we don't always focus on that kind of business stuff. We feel like it's something that it's not for our career, but they're very important. So I will talk a little bit of something that I've learned in this school, that is mentorship. So we're always used to think like we have to have one mentor that will guide us through all of our career, and that's not usually how it works. It's maybe an ideal thing, but especially in Latin America, we don't have a lot of mentors. Most of them are just doing their work. Not everyone is doing research. So maybe we're kind of lost without a mentor, and we don't know how to go further in our career. So they propose we can have four different types of mentorship. And sometimes one person will be one kind of mentor and the other one is a different kind. And maybe in the meantime, you have another one, and maybe you don't need a mentor at that time, but you need a coach or something different. So it's important to put this in mind. Like the regular mentor, like the traditional one, would be the one that is a long-term relationship, like a long time in your career. He's probably a senior, but usually it's not ideal that he's your direct boss. So because he should give you like advice, and it doesn't have to affect your current work. So he can provide support and career advice. And of course, the mentor can change when your career change, or when you go further in your career, you maybe need another mentor. And you can also have a coach, and the coach will maybe be a short term, maybe a long term, but usually shorter than the traditional mentor. And he may work in a specific goal or skill. Like maybe he won't define your entire career, but at this time you have like this specific difficulty, and your coach will help you go through that, and maybe help you acquire a new skill that will help you do something different that you're doing. And usually he's not a colleague, and he is also to will help you enable insight and maybe look into yourself and see what you can maybe better, and maybe he will help you change some behavior that is not helping you go further. So this is what a coach will do, another kind of mentor. And sometimes you have to find what type of mentor you need at that time in your life, in your career. You can also have sponsors that usually is a senior colleague, and he can even not be in your field, but he can help you in some way. Usually the sponsor will act like to promote your opportunities, like maybe putting you in another position, or maybe helping you put you in a conference presentation, or helping you get more visibility. So that would be a sponsor. And sometimes it's just exactly what you need. You already have a mentor, but your mentor doesn't have like a lot of connections and cannot put you in that position. So maybe you find yourself a sponsor. And also there's these connectors that are persons that people that usually is a senior colleague, and he connect you with sometimes he connect you with that person you need. So maybe you want to participate in another country or another society a little bit more, so you can broaden your opportunities. Like maybe you're like me, you're from LASID, and you want to join something from ESID, but you don't know anybody there that can help you through that. So maybe you have a connector that is someone that knows somebody there, and they can make you meet and maybe give you an email or something like that, and arrange this meeting so you can go further in your career. And also a connector can help you to expand your professional networks. So this is something that I think opened my mind a little bit, because I had this idea of mentorship that it has to be only one person and it would guide me through all my career. But maybe at some point in your career, you need something else from someone different. And maybe you can reach what I learned in this course, especially, even though we were with this big faculty names, like some people that are very important in our field, they were very open for us. Like, no, give me your email or send me an email. I'll help you do that, or I'll help you connect with someone else. Like, since we are a very small community from the inborn errors of immunity, everyone wants to connect, everyone wants to publish together and get data and cases. So maybe if you just reach them with an email, you can find yourself a new coach, a new sponsor, a new mentor. Your mentor doesn't have to be in your country even. Like, you can have a mentor from another country if your hospital or the place you work in don't have anyone that can fill this position for you. So this is the thing that I think I learned that it was very different from what I expected, is to find mentors and find that maybe they are not these traditional ones, and maybe they can help you a lot with that. So of course, the IAPIDS course was a place for networking. We had a lot of fun together. We had a lot of time. There was a lot of clinical cases and presentation. It was the whole day, but we met in the coffee breaks and dinner at night, and we connected and even planned a little collaboration. There's people that do research work, clinical work. So I advise you to go for it. I think it was an amazing opportunity. This is my third school. I attended LASID summer school in 2022. And last year I attended the EBMT, the European Bone Marrow Transplant Society. inborn errors working party. So it was also for immunodeficiencies, spring school. And this year, I attended the IAPIDS. In all of them, I had amazing connections from people all over the world with the very different backgrounds, but sometimes very similar to ours. So people from Egypt, from India, Africa, and all of these countries they can share a lot of insights. And we also we always make like this WhatsApp groups after, so we can discuss cases. And every time we meet again, it's always nice. Like we make very good friends. And I hope that I can show you that it was an amazing opportunity. And I encourage all of you to always try, like even if you don't get, because there's a lot of applications. Sometimes because they have a financial support, it's limited. So maybe you won't be as accepted the first time, but you should always keep trying. And if you ever need help, like for maybe writing your essay, and if you want me to maybe see if your clinical case is an interesting case, if you need some feedback, you can always reach me. So I will let my friend Augustine, that I made in the IAPIDS, talk a little bit of his experience. Thank you for listening. And I'm sorry, I'm very shy in Spanish, so I wasn't confident enough to do my presentation in Spanish, but you can reach me in Spanish and write emails in Spanish. It's okay. I'm just for present, I'm a little shy.
Thank you, Rafaela. That was great. It's very interesting to actually know. I'm actually, I thought of a couple questions, but I'll leave that for the end after for both you and Agustin. So I'm gonna switch a little bit to Spanish because he will speak in Spanish. I hope that's okay. But I want to introduce. Sorry, what?
I can understand, but
Oh,
I'll
okay.
probably reply in English. So it
Of
will be a
course.
little bit of mix, but I think it's okay.
Okay. So I'm going to introduce Agustín Bernacchia. Él es bioquímico. Bueno, él hizo la residencia en el Hospital de Niños Ricardo Gutiérrez en Buenos Aires, Argentina, y en inmunología pediátrica ahí. Y actualmente trabaja en el mismo hospital. Es difícil irse de Guti. Eh, Trabaja en el laboratorio de biología molecular y de diagnóstico genético para errores innatos de la inmunidad ahí. Y también trabaja en ClinGen, como, digamos, analizando variantes en el bíceps. Aus, te dejo todo tuyo. Aus.
Ahí está. Gracias, Ale, por la introducción. Voy a compartir mi pantalla. Bueno, primero, antes que nada, gracias Ale por la introducción y a Rafaela por hacerme mucho más fácil esta presentación, habiendo explicado muy bien de qué se trata la escuela. Y agradecer a la CID por haberme dado la oportunidad de participar en la IAPIDS. Bueno, un poco ya me, me hice una introducción, pero quería poner unas palabras sobre mí para que nos conozcamos mejor. Esta es una foto de mi equipo en el Hospital de Niños Vicente Gutiérrez. Como bien dijiste, trabajo en el diagnóstico molecular de error innato de la inmunidad y tengo un gran interés en lo que es curación de variantes, todo lo relacionado a eso, pero también me gusta mucho hacer trekking eh, o ir a algunos lugares con mi bici. Bueno, ya como dijo Rafaela, esta escuela está muy buena y tiene una particularidad que no solo discutimos casos clínicos, considerando desafíos diagnósticos o terapéuticos, sino que nos enfocamos en compartir habilidades y desafíos relacionados al desarrollo profesional, ¿no? Así, uno de los temas centrales de esta escuela es el de discutir proyectos u objetivos profesionales y ver cuáles eran esas dificultades para llegar a esos objetivos, qué es lo que necesitamos para triunfar o para ser exitosos en eso. Y está muy, muy bueno porque eso lo discutíamos con los faculties y ellos nos compartían también las dificultades que han tenido a lo largo de su carrera y cómo lograron superarlas. Y eso estaba muy bueno ver cómo ellos, que ahora nosotros lo vemos como inmunólogos exitosos, cómo se enfrentaron a cosas que quizás son parecidas a las que nosotros nos enfrentamos y cómo lograron, digamos, superarlas. Y entre medio de compartir esas experiencias y en relación a esos proyectos, ellos nos daban tips para mejorar nuestra carrera. Obviamente que también hicimos mucho de generar redes, de contactos, para que pueda ser más fácil en un futuro, si queremos cumplir algo, alguna meta, saber que tal grupo está realizando tal investigación o tal, está trabajando con tal grupo de patologías. Entonces eso puede facilitar mucho las cosas. Y dentro de esos paneles de discusión de desarrollo profesional, nada, hablamos de un montón de estos de temas y yo, a mí particularmente, el que me interesó y con el que quería compartirles, contarles un poco más, es lo del relacionado al síndrome de impostor. Entonces, quería contarles o empezar contándoles qué es el síndrome de impostor o cómo lo podemos definir. Bueno, el síndrome de impostor no es una entidad clínica, digamos, es un grupo de emociones o sensaciones. Sí se pueden eh, relacionar o asociar a entidades clínicas, pero básicamente es lo que siente una persona cuando tiene sensaciones de incertidumbre en relación a lo que logran en el trabajo, profesionalmente, que siente que sus logros no se asocian a su esfuerzo, sino más bien a la suerte o a un error. Tienen mucho miedo de fallar, se sienten como que son un impostor, es decir, que no merecen a lo que han llegado. Y eso tiene que ver con que les cuesta racionalizar lo que, sus triunfos. Eh, Todas estas emociones negativas se asocian con ansiedad, con falta de confianza, con depresión y con frustración, lo que obviamente puede llevar a una mejor, a un peor, a un peor, digamos, satisfacción laboral y a problemas de balance entre el trabajo y la vida fuera del trabajo. Algo que es particular en las personas que sufren el síndrome de impostor es que eh, muchas veces no dejan pasar oportunidades, como por ejemplo aplicar una beca, mandar un paper a una revista o aplicar un trabajo, porque sienten que no están cualificados. Como que no merezco aplicar este trabajo, como que el paper que estoy escribiendo no es suficientemente bueno. Bueno, y toda esta serie de cosas como que se tiran para abajo y eso hace que pierdan oportunidades para lograr, ¿no? Este síndrome, o sea, estas- este fenómeno, digamos, se puede presentar de diferentes maneras, hay como diferentes subtipos o personalidades. Tenemos al perfeccionista, que es una persona que necesita que todo lo que hace esté perfecto y el mínimo error lo considera una falla. Tenemos al experto, que es una persona que tiene que saber todo, que siempre está buscando saber todo. Tenemos a la superpersona o al superhéroe, que asume como cantidades muy grandes de trabajo para sentirse bien en el entorno laboral. Tenemos al genio, que es una persona que se, se propone cumplir metas o objetivos muy altas, y si no las logra rápido y de manera sin tanto esfuerzo, como se siente mal. Y después tenemos al soloist, que es una persona que tiene que hacer todo solo y porque pedir ayuda lo considera como una debilidad. Lo que sí me llamó mucho la atención, porque realmente no sabía, no sabía mucho sobre esto, es que es algo súper común y que es particularmente común entre los trabajadores de la salud. Hay muchos estudios, la verdad, que no encontré un estudio en la Argentina, pero sí hay estudios en otros países latinoamericanos como Brasil, Colombia, Perú, y muchos estudios de Estados Unidos, de prevalencia, que es muy variable dependiendo de la metodología que usan para medir esto y qué valores de datos usan, pero sí que entre uno de cada tres o uno de cada cuatro médicos tiene síntomas relacionados a este fenómeno. Y yo me preguntaba por qué es tan común en los profesionales de la salud, particularmente los médicos, y es porque hay varios motivos, pero particularmente porque es muy competitiva entrar a la facultad o entrar a la residencia o conseguir un puesto en un hospital. Hay mucha presión para triunfar, entonces estamos expuestos constantemente a la crítica. Eh, Estamos rodeados de muchos colegas, digamos, talentosos y exitosos, entonces como que se hace como todo un ciclo de vicioso de comparación y de competitividad, y eso hace que estos síntomas de excepciones sean particularmente, digamos, prevalentes dentro de las profesiones médicas. Otro grupo en el cual es muy prevalente son los grupos, eh, digamos, poco representados, los grupos minoritarios, las minorías, y esto tiene que ver con que los- las personas que forman parte de alguna minoría, ya sea en esta étnica o un grupo, eh, tratan de cumplir cierto estándar para formar parte de ese grupo, sentirse representados, y eso por ahí les puede llevar a sentir mucha presión que sea difícil de tolerar. Pero bueno, no todo es malo, no todas son malas noticias, sino que hay cosas, hay herramientas para trabajar, de trabajo interno, que uno puede hacer para sentirse mejor y que estas sensaciones negativas sean menores, leves. Y una vez que es entender que esto es muy común, que se puede hablar con colegas, con mentores, con amigos, y no hay que tener miedo ni once de decir ayuda. Enfocarse en reconocer las habilidades, el esfuerzo que hemos hecho para llegar al lugar donde estamos, rodearse de gente positiva y valiosa que considere o que celebre tus triunfos, y entender que está bien ser bueno y regular, que uno no tiene que ser perfecto, que somos humanos y que nos podemos equivocar, que eso está perfecto. Y por último, esto también tiene que ver con entender que, o dejar de darle tanto énfasis a nuestro título, a nuestro reconocimiento, y sino más bien a entender que por ahí lo que hacemos tiene que ver con mejorar la calidad de vida de otra persona, y que incluso puede ser de manera sencilla y a veces no relacionado con el rol profesional que tenemos. Así que bueno, quería agradecer por escucharme y acá les dejo un código QR, lo pueden escanear y los va a llevar a una breve self-test para saber si alguno, que seguramente alguno de nosotros experimenta este tipo de síntomas. Así que, bueno, esto es todo.
Muchas gracias, Agus. La verdad que me encantó tu presentación, así como la de Rafaela también. Ah,
Gracias.
como voy a volver a switch al inglés para que estemos todos más cómodos, por Rafaela también. Uh, so I definitely know I have imposter syndrome, and I was actually very surprised as well because it is something that we don't talk about a lot in Latin America, I think, and whereas in Canada it's something that is very frequent and everyone's aware of it. I'm not sure if it goes away. It's still on me, particularly. Like I experience it particularly if you're young or so youngish. I'm not young anymore, but if you're starting at a new position or something, it can be very tricky. So in the meantime, I'd like to invite anyone in the audience to ask questions. I think it's a great opportunity because we usually it's usually when one has to do an application for these kinds of stuff, it is very hard to know what to expect unless you know directly someone. So now you have two people who are very kind, very nice, and gave really nice presentations and very approachable. So you can either write it on the chat or raise your hand, and they'll be happy to answer, I think. And in the meantime, I do have a question. What did they, because all of these people that I've seen in the, both as some students, I know some of them because I did summer school with them, and I know some of the mentors as well. So my question is, what did they say, particularly the mentors, about work-life balance or time management? Because with some of these people, you see 10,000 articles coming by, you know that they work clinically, you know that they're on call. So what did they say about time management? I'm curious about that.
Well, well, one thing for sure is that that is different from Latin America, and I also think we compare ourselves that much, is publication. Because we do have way less publications, but we don't usually have a grant for research or like time exclusively for this. And a lot of countries do have like this reserved time for research and writing papers, and that's something that is expected from them. We usually write at night, at the weekends, and in our free time. So we cannot compare ourselves with that. Also, one thing that was said is that you should publish good enough papers, not perfect papers, because we also like when we write, it's not never good enough. Like, no, the intro is not that good. No, I have to have more references and something like that. And maybe this blocks us or maybe we don't think our paper is good enough and we want more data or something like that. And we see, especially in our field, that we have we have few patients with rare diseases, and if we cannot gather that much data. So I think this is one thing that I learned, that we should publish good enough papers, not perfect papers. And that's something that will help you balance that. Also, you can reach to juniors and medical students and ask them to do something in your research. And also, this is something that we always tend to do, is that we want to do everything by ourselves. And that's one of the reasons that we always overworking ourselves, because we don't share and distribute some of our work that we don't need to do it. Like, we don't have to do everything by ourselves. So that's something that I've learned, and I'm trying to put in practice. Like, I wanted to med students to help me publish some case studies that they're almost ready, but it's not that important, so I cannot put all of my time there. But you know, it's a beautiful case and should be published, and I need to share it with them, so I can do this not by myself. So that's something that I definitely was something that I learned. Good enough is okay. You don't have to be perfect.
I agree. It is true that that we have the conception that it has to be perfect because it has to be by these or that standard. But yeah, I do agree that it is true that in the northern hemisphere, so to say, there is allocated time for research. I actually do have that in under my contract as well, and I do find that there is a difference, and you get a different insight as well. But so yeah, I completely agree. Um, and
Yeah, and basically they have more resources as far as they shared to us.
I have to say that there could be more. I mean, this is my impression, and it's totally personal, but there could be if there was enough collaboration, I think, with Latin America, the amount of patients that there are there, it's quite. There are resources, yes and no. Like I thought, for example, like being on in Canada, that there's money everywhere. That's kind of like the impression that one gets. It's not like that as much. Like it's very like definitely allocated for this or that, or this resource goes for this or that. Like the flow of money is not um that straightforward. I would say in terms of like everything needs to be justified, everything needs to be carefully thought of. Like for example, just as an example, like sometimes whenever if you need a blood, like you're processing samples and you're you know, you have to you cannot go as I sometimes we sometimes did is like, can you do this blood draw for me, and then I'm shipping the sample. You have to pay the technician to do the blood draw, you have to acknowledge that person, you have to get ethics for that, like, you know, like there's a lot of like things that we sometimes, because we're running against time, or we're trying to do our best in the context that is poor resource, so to say, we not bypass, but it's less strict. That's my feeling, at least, that it's but I do think that if and that's why I think the registry and collaborating and communicating with everyone is very important, because it's you can get easily publications, for example, like cohorts, or even functional studies, like well, you're I'm not sure in Rafaela's hospital, but the hospitals in Argentina, the big centers, do have really nice functional studies, and it's amazing what they can do. So it's I one thing that you get out of that, like of these schools, is how the people do recognize that you can't do everything. Like it's like you have to take care of this and acknowledge that you need another person to work on this side. At least I didn't have that concept before, because it's like, oh, okay, you just want to have it all wrapped up together, and but then working with other people, it's, well, for one, it's a nice experience because you get other insights, but it's, yeah, I think it's learning as well as say like, okay, I just can't cover everything, if that makes sense. Yeah. And yeah, so does anyone have any question? I talk a lot, so if anyone in the audience has questions, it would be great. I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, now I have both of their WhatsApp, so if I want to apply next year, I can ask them personally, but I don't know if the rest of the people here. I mean, I'm joking. I think it's a good opportunity um to get their experience.
Yeah, one thing that I would like to like give advice, if I can, is to follow the societies on social media like Twitter and Instagram, because that's where you get the that's when you know it's going to open to apply, because sometimes you miss the date and then you have to apply like in the next 2 years. So maybe you always keep watching for that. Oh, it's every 2 years, it's around the beginning of the year, so you kind of know. But follow them on social media, and there's a lot of things good coming from social media, from following societies. So you can have all these webinars and things like that, and so you should always do that. And you should apply, because sometimes I don't you think like, oh, my CV is not good enough, I don't do a lot of research, I don't have that many publications, so they will never choose me. But you think that's one way you get to that. Like if you go to a school and you meet the right people, and maybe you can get yourself a fellowship. Like you can meet someone from other country, and they can, no, you should spend some time with us, and then you have this bridge. So I think everyone should always apply to that, and you never know. Maybe you get accepted, and most of these schools, they have financial support, so you don't have to pay for most of it, and that makes way more easier to go to US, to go to Europe or another country in South America. So try. You should always try. And as a representative from the junior committee since now, since this year, feel free to reach us, and we can help with your application and with your case, and maybe to wrap up your CV. Maybe you need a recommendation letter or something like that. We can arrange. We can help you meet someone else, like a mentor. So maybe if you don't have like the how to reach someone, maybe more important, a faculty, reach a junior, and they can connect you with someone else.
Yeah, I think that's very important, because it's there is and even though it sounds like it is just a couple days and it's a short experience, I've made really good friends. And particularly, I haven't been to the IAPIDS one, but I've been to the ESIT summer school, and it was a really great experience, and I'm still in touch with them, and I met mentors there that I still talk to and get advice from, and I drop them an email. Like, even if it, aside from just going to their schools, they're always. It's good that one can reach them all the time for your medical or biochemical or scientific life. In a way, they're always pretty easygoing. I'd say there's not many people who respond who responds in a very bad way. I think that's not the usual. And yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying. But yeah, and also I think that it's great. So on one hand, I think we'll try on social media to advertise for these things, like to make them more available. I'll make sure of that. But I also think that it's great to use the juniors committee as as a resource, because I know them, some of them now more. Now that I know Rafaela, I know more of the junior committee, and they're great and very easygoing, very nice people. So I think definitely if one wants to have more experience or wants to reach out to someone, it's definitely a good way to start. And so there is a comment of my good friend from Costa Rica, Alberto Alfaro, and he says, I have the privilege of meeting the speakers as well as the moderator. Thank you. Excellent human beings and professionals, all of you. I believe that we cannot compare ourselves in terms of publications with powerful countries that have exclusive time and resources to do so. And Latin America has an exquisite potential that these other countries do not have, possibly the clinical experience, semiology, clinical analysis, and differential diagnosis is our forte because we have learned to perform excellent medicines with few resources. Therefore, we must also highlight these achievements and not to consider ourselves as young professionals with less capacity. You're an example that success is possible. Thank you for your contributions. Wow, that's a really great comment. Thank you so much, Alberto. Yeah, but the other thing, I honestly do agree with that, and also there is a possibility. I think that, as I said before, there is a great amount of patients that the number is really big, and sometimes countries that have more resources really don't have these big numbers, and they. So I think if it's a great way to network and between the countries in Latin America. And I've seen a lot of publications of countries, for example, together, such as, I don't know, Colombia and Costa Rica together, or, networks in a way. So I truly agree. And there's also sometimes there's also very rich presentations that are not seen very frequently, and I think it's better to make them known in a way. But anyway, uh, uh, so are there any other questions? Well, if not, I'm always reachable as well. And I'd like to. I know. I know. There's speaking of schools and having fun and meeting cool people in the area. Not just fun, but also very, very scientifically reliable and great to know. I think there's going to be a summer school in September for LASID. So be mindful and be just check your social media and ask if you want to participate. Ask, and don't be afraid to submit your cases. And thank you very much for joining us today. It's really nice, and I definitely enjoyed it, and I might apply next year, actually. Who knows? To yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ale.
Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.